The Only Way. Tuesday, 5 p.m., September the 14th, 1976, Tinker Mountain Motel, Roanoke, Virginia. Dr. Reeves continues his instruction on theory of ionization, cause and effects, patterns and problems. A copy of this tape may be had by requesting tape number 10976-2.
What about kidney problems? That's a good thing to talk about. Here are numbers that would indicate a kidney problem. The numbers are 5.8790 over 540, 40C, 4M, and 14 over 10. This would indicate a kidney problem, either on a male or female, but it would be worse on a female than it would a male, so we're going to give it a female. And we're going to have her age as 45, and the height, we're going to have it 5 feet and 8 inches, and the weight 160 pounds. Now this is an ideal number for a kidney patient. Of course, you can see other reasons up there, but in this kind of a reading, you see a number of things that together they make the summary of a kidney problem. One is that the salt is very high, and the salt being high, with these kind of numbers, you have at least a number of different kinds of salt, and you notice that the weight is a little above normal, just a little, not a whole lot, but many times the weight is much greater with kidney problems. And backaches would be a very common thing for this type of person. But notice that the food is digesting too slowly, that the salt is rather high, which is causing the blood vessels in the kidneys also to be dilated, and also that this person is not drinking enough distilled water, probably drinking too much iced tea, or Lipton's, Nestle, or Tetley tea, chocolate, and so forth. The high urea at the other end all indicates that there's a kidney problem on a person this age. Now, if they were younger, it would indicate one, but not so far advanced. So all of this picture together indicates that there's a kidney problem. So if you want to really know the answer, ask the question, do you have any backaches? Oh, yes, that's why I'm here. I have backaches. So then you know that the backache is caused because of a kidney problem. That's a good question to ask with any numbers. Do you have a backache? And therefore chiropractic adjustments would be a great asset here. But this is not the only problem. They not only have a kidney problem, they have a bladder problem here. For the same reason that they have a kidney problem, they have a bladder problem. Also, here they also have quite nervous because the food is not digesting like it should. The bile is too acid and the food is too acid, so it's laying in the stomach a long time, so the person's eating a lot more carbohydrates to get energy than they should. These carbohydrates are turning into alcohol, which form a blue type of stone. And also, on top of this, they have a fluctuating sugar. It jumps up and high, but when it drops down to about, say, 540 or 530, and when it feels like it drops this low at times, they feel so miserable, and they just got to go eat more sweets in order to pick up their energy. So it's just a continuous merry-go-round of miseries, because if it gets below 550, they get into the edge of withdrawal, and this is called the zone of misery between 2 and 550. And this is the area in which that you feel tired all the time, backache, and your problems just get you down, as well as being in menopause on top of everything else. Many people that have this problem are not only miserable, but they make other people miserable to be around them. Whenever, if they didn't have these problems, they'd be very charming people. So this is the thing that indicates that there are kidney stones, yes. Yes. All in the calciums, there. Both of them together, yes. Both calciums. Oh, yes, yes. I'm sorry, I do not understand your question. Okay, the question is withdrawn. This person would have to be in a retreat in order to do it. They'd have to be checked twice a day. It would be unsafe to try to do this at home. 40 ounces of lemonade, 40 ounces of water, systematically, and expect a rough withdrawal.
When did you start that lemonade?
8 o'clock in the morning.
No, did you start that immediately?
No, not till we get to a retreat. I would start them on dolomite and the proper minerals. Yes? Yes, they would, yes. That's right. That's true, yes. Maybe. May or may not. Would they have bloodshot eyes? Maybe yes, maybe no. It's not imperative for this kind of a condition. Now, how would you dissolve the stone? No. Not olive oil. Yes, Heinz sweet pickle juice. That is right. Heinz sweet pickle juice. Yes?
What is the reason for being specifically Heinz, or is anything else?
The only reason I say Heinz is I know every batch is alike. I know what to expect on the numbers. The other pickles are unstable. No two batches of them are alike, and I don't know the value, and I only recommend one that I know the value of. Yes?
Can we use our indicator solution to test the pH of that Heinz?
We can try it.
By the way, the lemon juice mixture, 4 ounces and 36 ounces of water is 3.8, as I measured it.
Okay.
What percentage of juice do you get?
Of Heinz, at this case of 160 pounds would be about 2 tablespoonfuls on your salad twice a day. You may eat the pickles also. Do you begin to see these pictures? Is it begin to open up to you to mean something? Yes?
What would you do for this person if the situation is like that, and obviously, they can't get to the retreat for 6 months or something? How can you help them besides get dolomite?
Well, I would take them off of potatoes, white potatoes, completely, practically off of bread and whole milk. I would remember the no-no meats. I would take away the salt shaker, and I would put them on fruits for breakfast and no sweets or starches after 2 o'clock in the day. And I would begin to have them to do more walking exercises every day. That's something they don't feel like if they have that kind of numbers. And these are principles I would do. They're already drinking water like it was going out of style with these kind of numbers. Most diabetics do drink an awful lot of water. So these are principles that I would follow.
Would you start them on distilled water or anything?
Yes, I'd give them distilled water, but I wouldn't try to give them any definite amount, because you can throw them into withdrawal and make their life miserable, and then make them hate you and not come back anymore, and tell everybody that guy likes to kill them.
What about monosodium glutamate used in the soy product?
What about sodium gluconate? It's very good. Monosodium gluconate is very good. A little bit of it won't hurt you, yes.
Doctor, is this patient his own insulin or such, would that affect, I mean, is this pattern, would you ask them how much insulin they were on?
Yes, you would. You'd want to know that. How much insulin, what kind, and how long. That is right. Many people are afraid of monosodium gluconate. I've never found a person yet that it did any harm to. What little bit that you use, so teeny bit. However, I can't see any reason for using it. But I carried on tests for 2 or 3 years with it, and all it does is bring out the poor taste a little bit in tasteless vegetables. If you've got good vegetables, you don't need it. Yes? That's right. Right. And also they're an alcoholic. They don't drink it, but the pancreas is manufacturing too much. They have hot flashes. The eyes are kind of blurry in the morning. There's bags under their eyes. Complaints are cheaper by the dozen. Except by the grace of God that our instruments do not measure. Yes? Yes? What did you say? We'd have to change all of them to do that. In other words, just get a little closer to perfect, and that's what you would do. Just move a little closer to perfect. Yes? There is delta cells in the kidneys here. Yes. Yes. Right. Right, exactly. Come on up.
There are many of us here that are allergic to MSG, and we would like for all of you to know about it. I get violent headaches from it, and a number of other people do too, but it doesn't happen at that time. It's monosodium glutamate. Accent. It's another name for it. All the Chinese restaurants use it in their foods. But the headaches generally don't happen that day, so it's hard to associate them. They happen maybe the next day or 2 days later, but they happen, like migraines.
There's not any product that somebody's not allergic to. There's not any product that somebody's not allergic to. However, what I said, I have not seen any permanent damage done with it. You may have a temporary headache or something, but I know people that just take one sip of wine and have a severe headache from it. Or just one little sip of beer and they have a severe headache from it. Or one person can take just one swallow of iced tea and they can't urinate for 3 days. So you just name it, and somebody's allergic to it. But what I was speaking was a great masses. There was always a group, and I know other people that's allergic to apples, can't eat them at all. They blow up like a balloon. You name it. I know other people that's allergic to cow's milk, even skim milk. Others it's allergic to wheat. Others it's allergic to cheese, and others it's cottage cheese. Others it's allergic to yogurt. I saw one person eat yogurt and the lips got as thick, it looked like, this terrible, the lips got terrific thick. There are people that's allergic to mangoes, and the lips get thick, the ears get big. It really looks rough for the first few days. Also, I've seen people that were allergic to cocaine given by a dentist. Man, their face swells up. It makes it look like they've had mumps, the triple kind of mumps just from a little bit of codeine. So you name it, and somebody's allergic to it. Yes.
About 30% of the cards that are read says you must go to the retreat. You can't go to the retreat. Is there something that we can do for them?
There's only about 5% of all the cards that are read.
Well, they have 30% of them.
Oh, it just happened to be that one batch. That's the reason I'm begging for you to have more retreats, you doctors especially. Now, you don't have to wait for a year, but you just happen to have a very bad batch. I've seen a whole batch of cards, and none of them didn't have to go to the retreat. I've tested as high as 3 days at a time and didn't even find one person that needed to go to the retreat. But next day, I found nearly everyone that needed to go. So they come in waves. I found 3 leukemia patients in one day and never found another one for 3 months. So I can't understand how they come in waves, but they do. Yes?
Is there a way we can check water for nitrates in it, equipment?
Yes, sir. Yes, you can check water for nitrates with your system, yes. The same as you check for urea. And it should be 0. Yes.
My area, since I got back, I checked about 25 wells, and all pulled up to 8, 3, or 4. Is that significant?
That's right. It should be 0. Well, that's right. This is that disease that struck Pennsylvania so much is because the high urea is in the water. There's also an area of North Dakota, South Dakota, northern part of Iowa, Nebraska, and all of Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota, in which there is a terrific potassium deficiency showing up in that area. A terrific potassium area, and the brain tumors are developing at a terrifically high rapid rate in that area. Yes.
On these allergy problems, is there any way that you can detect it other than having the patient eat the thing, or can you try a little bit and check pulse or something before they get to see more specifically what the problem is?
Most of the time, when people have an allergy to something, that's the reason they're in the office, is because they have an allergy. And not necessarily, because the question is, can you detect by the analysis what everything that a person has an allergy toward? Not everything, but you can pick out a lot of things. Like this person would have an allergy to white potatoes and white bread, and things of that nature, because it's causing the pancreas to manufacture too much insulin, or not enough insulin. It's slowing it down. So you can predict some things. I told you in the first class about the man who had an allergy to tuna fish with the headaches, the computer operator for the Winter Park Hospital. I told you about that case. So generally, most people don't know what their allergy is, and they do not know what to do about it, and they're depending on you to tell them. And there's furthermore, many people have a reaction that they call an allergy, which is not an allergy. For instance, some people start on the lemonade that makes them sick at their stomach. They said, I have an allergy to lemon juice. Well, it's supposed to make them sick at their stomach. It's supposed to make them upchucked. It's supposed to change their body chemistry. And therefore, they think they have an allergy to something when nature's trying to get them well. But they won't listen. Yes? Burning of the stomach is ulcers, and that's one of the weak points of our test. The gastric juices and the things that's in the stomach so scatters the energy, it's difficult to pick up sometimes on the first test. But the second or third test, it sticks up like a sore thumb. But most of all, the patient will say, my stomach is burning. Then take them off of the lemonade and put them on cabbage juice, freshly squeezed. Let them chew some beeswax, the wax from honeycomb, and if they have a high blood sugar, wash out the honey out of it, and if they have a low blood sugar on them, keep the honey in it and chew it. And that together is one of the finest things in the world, is the beeswax and the honey. chewed until it becomes a milk, plus the fresh cabbage juice, and I've never seen an ulcer that it wouldn't get well under. 5 or 6 weeks down, and it gets the worst of them well, yes. Phosphate deficiency, we discussed that this morning. Yes. Hiatal hernia is found, in the first class I drew out the picture of the hiatal hernia to you and showed you how it was found. It's formed by gas, and because the esophagus goes in at a lower point than the highest part of the stomach. And actually, a hiatal hernia most of the time isn't really a hernia. It's just a stretched stomach. And fasting is an excellent thing.